every trick in the book. I'll try my best to get you hooked. I'm gonna use every trick in the book. I'll try my best to get you hooked.
A quick introduction for describing my side. My face is forgettable, a regular guy. Now I can be anyone, anywhere I aim. I just need the mindset, a story and a name. Just started working here, haven't got my badge yet. My hard hat and clipboard's the same as all access. Data center rooftop, finished with my case soon. Taking people's lunches from the bags up in the break room. Talking through my story, recited it with confidence. Make you feel at ease, disregard your common sense. Now I'm in, hope you're ready for the consequence.
Okay, welcome to the social-engineer.org podcast number, what was it again? 25. Who remembered? Thank you.
Number 25.
Wow, Dave.
Number 25.
That was really pathetic.
I don't got anything left in me, man.
Every month you get more and more pathetic.
No, listen, last month I did a good job.
No.
Last month, yes, I did.
No, I'll replay that. And that was about your book, too, and you still sounded pathetic.
I did a good job with that one. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
No, that was pathetic. It was
this one was this.
Yeah, thank you. You see, he listens.
Thanks.
Listen, he's just bitter that there wasn't free beer. That's all I'm saying.
No, but he
He's
listens.
biased.
He's
biased.
a listener, right? Yeah.
You didn't think it was good?
Could have been better. I mean, how many of you listen to the podcast? Anybody? Okay, right. So remember when he first started doing it? Now, I love it when the room's smaller because then it looks like there's so many of you saying yes. Where, like yesterday when there was 400 people in here and I asked and the same 20 raised their hand, it was like, crap, I'm depressed, you know. Now everyone in here raises their hand. Yeah.
We've made it.
We made it. We can now say 100% of the room listens to the podcast. That's my new vector right there. Okay, so what do we got going on? Of course,
pretty nothing's been going on these last few
Defcon
days.
was boring. No, that's not true, actually. Defcon rocked. So we had our... how am I going to word this? Okay, guys, let's take a vote. I've been calling it the adult CTF because we had two. We had the kids and we had the adult. Now, when I say the adult CTF, these guys automatically go to bad things, and they think that adult CTF means something not good. Is that really what you think when you hear that? Look at that. Like the only person.
So I like
Earth?
the 100%. I'm liking this 100% agreement here. You know,
I'm 100. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just thinking like. Okay,
when you hear adult, people are coming in like expecting.
No, there's kids here. There's kids here. We keep it clean. Well, I know you could have. I heard you yesterday. Believe me. But let's.
There's kids here. There's kids here.
Yeah.
But yes, it definitely goes.
Don't use the term, otherwise you might get invited to run a contest that you don't want to run.
How would you word it?
I think we're gonna have to. I think we should all agree that it doesn't sound bad at all, and then we're gonna make it something really bad next year.
No. How do we word it? Who wants to help?
CTF and mini CTF. That's not a bad one. The mini CTF.
Yeah, the social engineering CTF and then the mini CTF. It's okay. But that means like, a mini, it just sounds smaller, but that's even worse.
Yeah.
that's like a bar or a strip
We are not
club
taking
now.
advice from you.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, seriously. With a name like, well, no, we won't. It's a PG. Don't say his name. The original CTF, so the OG CTF.
But see, we're already having issues with people saying, "Where's the SCCTF?" and they're saying it's the room across the hall with the actual capture the flag event.
How about the social engineering experiment challenge?
Dude, you need to have a dictionary. It's like 30 minutes long.
All right. Well, we'll crunch our craniums together.
I'm with him. I actually am, and that's weird. But, but I am. Well, I liked the adult CTF, but since there's 100% agreement in the room that sounds horrible.
It's pretty much like
stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, like everybody's shaking their head. It's not stupid. It's just.
Well, yeah.
I guess my mind does not wander into the gutter as much as. The PG-13 adult CTF. That's worse than Wood's the CTF experiment.
That's a real Pat McCoy suggestion.
But that makes it sound old. And that's another Pat McCoy suggestion right there. That's another. You just pulled a Pat McCoy big time. Come on in. We're doing the social-engineer.org non-adult podcast.
Number 25.
See? Now that was
better.
more like it, right? I mean, at least you put some emphasis.
All right, that's all I got. Now I'm taking a
I
nap.
had to tickle his knee.
Had to tickle his knee for that. That was ridiculous before. He was
That's all I
like,
had.
25. My name is Dave. Give
It's
me
a rough
coffee.
night, man. I got back at 5 a.m. and then I woke up at 9 for this.
Yeah, and so did the rest of these guys. I mean, like,
Does anybody have a harp? Because I would like to cry. I mean,
so anyhow, the
Violin, that's
social
what I'm looking for.
engineering CTF for adults. Is that better? But now I'm like Wood. I'm like
actually, I don't. That's not that bad of an idea.
Just
I mean,
call it
for
the social
adults-
engineering capture the flag.
Yeah,
Done.
yeah. The CTF
Exactly
and CTF for
what we
kids.
have been doing.
Yeah.
Okay. See,
Nope.
now that I can go with. I like that. See, well, why couldn't you help me with this for the last 2 months? And then
this
he
is the
comes
same
in
thing
here.
we've been saying for.
I'm glad I'm
you
not
know,
being roped into this.
ever.
Why did you
what we
fail
do.
me, Dave? Why did you fail me?
Wait. You never asked me.
I asked you.
Okay, I probably forgot.
The geriatric CTF for the 85 and older.
See
Actually,
that we just chased people away.
yeah, you like to sign up for that. So the social engineering CTF that we held this weekend went off pretty awesome. We had the first day we had a bunch of cancellations, but what ended up being cool is that we had a bunch of people come up like last minute and say we'll do a call. And of course, they weren't really part of the competition, but they stepped up and did a call just for fun, which was interesting to see. If any of you were in the room for Mud, yeah, that was interesting. That was an interesting call, to say the least. But the second day too, that went off. We had no cancellations. One, but we filled that up with Johnny Along, which, geez, holy mackerel, he did awesome, didn't he? So
Johnny's
that
awesome.
was Johnny was pretty awesome.
It's really brave of him to step up. Because he has nothing to gain from doing that. He puts himself in the booth. He does the call. He does well. What else can you ask from the guy?
Yeah.
I felt really bad. I was doing one of the book signings over at the No Starch booth, and I was so focused on going there to sign it out. And Johnny looks at me, and I walked right past him and started signing books. And I look over, and I'm like, "Oh, oops."
Wait,
Went
you
over
wrote a
and gave him
book?
and I went and gave him a hug.
You wrote a book?
Yeah, something like that.
Really?
It's something on social engineering.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's a good book. Oh, is this it right here? Ghosts in the Wires?
No.
Oh, it's a different one? Okay. And then the kids, the CTF for kids, that went really well. Actually, this was our first year. This was the first year I think this was ever done anywhere. So I'm not sure. Anyone ever hear of another social engineering? I haven't. So we tried to.
I did one last week at this.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Just to
Yeah.
one up us?
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, thanks.
Took
Dave.
half an hour. It was.
You're, yeah. Well,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was like three. Yeah.
Every
Yeah.
kid won.
every kid won.
We got also got a house. You had a few other things. It was pretty nice.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Jeez. This is a kid CTF. Kid CTF.
In the trunk.
Yeah, whatever was inside the Ferrari was in the Ferrari. It was a mix. You either got cocaine or something else. So
Anyhow, we're quickly losing our PG rating on iTunes. Thank you very much. So our Kid CTF was designed to be a kind of like a treasure hunt, capture the flag that used social engineering skills, lock picking, ciphers, and that went off really well. I was kind of shocked though when we started the launch of the kids CTF and all the kids were in here and we did our opening speech and handed out the first packets, and then we said, "Are there any questions?" Some of the questions that came back
We're scary.
yeah, were scary. Can we forge people's signatures? Can we lock
guilt
pick?
trip people?
Yeah, can we guilt trip people? One little girl asked that as she looked up at me and went, "Can we guilt trip people?" Yeah, it was so they did awesome. I mean, we thought it was going to be like an 8-hour kind of thing, and it ended in 4.5 for some of the kids. So that was a little nerve-wracking because we thought we would have to make it easier, but we have to make it harder for next year if we do it again next year because it was a little too easy. We probably should mention up front, and I think we're going to have one of our sponsors in here shortly, but none of this would have happened without our sponsors, Offensive Security, Core Impact, Qualis, and All Clear ID. those guys really rock because the prizes and the setup and the booths and all this stuff cost more money than I make in a year. So without the sponsors, we wouldn't have been able to have all the cool stuff here for everybody. So we appreciate them. Got to give them a shout out. What
Shout
else?
out to the wives too for manning the booths and everything while you guys were gone. And I mean, awesome.
I agree with that. Yeah, thank you. Our team made up of Paul. Hey guys, Paul just got married this weekend,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Woo!
Yes.
That's what happens in Vegas, huh?
Yeah.
No, he didn't. But his wife's
They
not
had a-
here because she's home sleeping. They partied all night, so she's too tired. To
I didn't
make
know
it.
Vegas had a Twilight wedding, but apparently,
They
I
do
mean,
actually.
yeah.
Elvis dresses up
Team
like a
Sparkly.
vampire.
Team Jacob. I mean, it was all good, man.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool. No, awesome.
333.
Yeah.
You
So
may bite
Paul,
the bride.
and then we got Dan over here. He helped us out with I don't know, what did Dan do? No, just kidding. Dan is the guy who was our pack mule. Like all the stuff that we had to pack up and bring up to the room every night. Dan is the guy who did
By the way,
that.
I think Dan has some sort of narcolepsy. I mean, every time I look over at him, like last night, he was passed out sleeping, and I looked over to him 2 minutes ago, and he was sleeping. I mean,
Narco.
dude, I just hear 1 minute, and 1 minute he's like,
Yeah.
Come on, Gomez.
Yeah. And Nick Hitchcock helped us. He was another pack mule that brought things up and down. And then, of course, the wives, Melissa and Vicky.
the bride to be.
Maddie's not here. He had some issues this morning waking up too. So, I don't know. Vegas is a hard time. That's why we always do our podcast at night instead of in the daytime.
Does it feel like it gets longer every year?
Yeah.
I mean, every year it feels like, I mean, from Black Hat to now, it's just like a month.
It does feel that way.
Yeah.
It really does.
Especially hanging out with you.
I agree. Hanging out with myself, I get bored. So, how many you guys been here? How many people are here since Black Hat? Yeah, quite a few, right? Are you like, is it you done with Vegas? No.
I could say I could go for like another week.
Then you have like.
I'm not sure physically I could go for another week.
No, I can't.
I mean, I've been drinking a lot of water.
I need sleep, man. I can't be here another week. I'm. Really?
Oh, jeez.
What's wrong with you?
It's a Tuesday for me.
When Sunday feels like a Tuesday. Oh my
Is
God.
it Sunday?
Yeah.
Man,
Sunday.
all my days are thrown off. So anyway, we want to field some. I don't know if you guys have any questions or anything. If you want to talk or discuss social engineering or discuss the CTFs, discuss anything, we got a mic here. We can just talk back and forth, or we can go on with our normal stuff. You can just come up and yell in it, say anything. Come on, somebody.
Well, maybe
Anybody?
not anything.
Well, yeah, not anything. Okay.
Uh-oh.
So, how would you attempt to? Actually, go to the mic.
Yeah, I guess we can't drag it over to him, huh? I know. We're making you walk. I know. What was that? Cricket noise?
We need to get next year. We have to have a soundboard so we can play the Price is Right theme song and stuff.
We should.
I'm really
Well,
disappointed.
where's your phone?
Not.
I don't have it on my phone.
I don't have a
think.
computer, like just flash. There's got to be something out there.
Yeah.
But anyways, how would you attempt to provide misinformation to, what's the word I'm looking for, to discredit something that's happened at Defcon, i.e., your picture got taken and you're walking down from breakfast and a Fed comes up and says, "Hi, Fox." So how would you attempt to try and fix that?
Move to Mexico?
Well, extradition. to
Social
Mexico,
engineering
you
wise.
gotta
I'm
watch
talking
out.
like misinformation, things like that.
Oh, okay. So moving to Thailand's not an option?
Kind of. I mean, like the currency conversion's good, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of like the States.
Yeah. Boy, that's a hard one. Misinformation is difficult when there's pictures to prove, right? Unless
Was it really me?
Yeah, unless you can. I mean, if you really want to launch a full campaign, take a picture and put some EXIF data in the background that said you were somewhere else at the same time. But
I mean, yeah, there's forgery there, but
Yeah.
I mean, I guess socially. I mean, what I'm talking is from
yeah, socially, I don't think you can do that, bro, because we were in the room
doomed.
last night. And, we saw the live IRC channel that was going on in the room. I doubt there's any way that you can misinform the 2,000 people and 40 video cameras that were in there recording everything that happened. It would be a feat of wonderment. If you actually pull it off, let me know, because we'd be very interested in like writing that up.
Yeah, we need to document it.
Yeah, we would
that
definitely
Well,
document that.
Yeah, because one of the things I've always enjoyed doing is essentially mass manipulation as far as social engineering goes, and it's always been pretty interesting as far as what I've been doing with this handle. I've been experimenting a lot more with different time zones. For instance, with the school, like a lot of kids have been trying to figure out where I live, things like that. So via local U.S. IP addresses, I'm able to get different essentially different residential tag. I can't even. I'm sorry, I'm drunk. Still, but I'm able to get different geo IP locations. So when kids hear Kids Who Is Me trying to figure out where it's going, I have kids telling me I'm in Missouri. I have kids telling me I'm in Cali. I have kids telling me I'm all over the place. At one point, somebody said I got picked up by the DGSE. For Christ's sake, it's pretty good, but. It's just been really interesting to see how many people have been looking at this and trying to figure out who I am, where I'm at, and to see misinformation work so fantastically well. Something as simple as saying, this class is going to be at 12 CST when it's actually going to be at 3 EST, and just making those small little changes here and there just throw a lot of people off. And
Maybe you're not even really Fox. Maybe
maybe I'm not.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe he's
That
Pat
could
McCoy.
Could be Pat McCoy.
Could be.
I'm actually Kevin Mitnick.
You're Kevin. Yeah, I don't have a good answer for that one because misinformation campaigns, in my opinion, they take time. They take time and energy because there's a lot, especially when you're talking about pictures and video now. Because it's not just like saying, "Hey, I saw this guy," and then you can use pictures and video to say you were somewhere else. You actually have probably 40 plus cameras, plus everybody on Earth that was holding up all of their pads and cell phones doing this the whole time, and that's probably on YouTube and Twitter and everywhere right now. So. If you pull that
wasn't a fun morning checking the Twitter account.
Yeah, if you pull that one off, let us know because we would love to document exactly. I think that would make a very interesting case study.
I think you're kind of in a unique position where not a lot of people have been in it before. So
yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, I guess what I was thinking. I'm just right now. Nobody else is actually getting up here, so I'm. God, there are kids in here.
I know.
Sorry.
And we promised them we were going to keep it clean.
I'm sorry, parents. Please forgive me. But no, it's definitely been interesting seeing a lot of researchers that have been going against the whole anonymous thing, and they've been personally coming at me. There's information that actually just straight out gets made up, and I don't know. Like I said, I've been socialing since probably
Forever.
14. Yeah, but roughly about 10 years, and. No, it's been really fun. It's been really interesting sitting here watching the past 2-3 months evolve because of the fact that just so many people, so many different directions, so many different stories, and it's been really interesting trying to keep everything straight. Yeah. Because of the fact that we have a lot of kids that have been trying to infiltrate some of the private channels and things like that, and so we don't necessarily know who's actually just coming there to learn. We don't know who's there to cause problems. We don't know who's there to leak information. So it's been really interesting seeing how we can get people to essentially trip up, how we can leak out information to one person and not to the other, and see just essentially what shakes out of the tree. There have been probably 5 or 6 instances I can think of where I've leaked out information to one kid and said, oh well, this is where this server is, this is where this box is, this is what the passwords are, here, go ahead and log in. And I see 2 or 3 other students that aren't in the actual academy part of the school that have logged in, and then so on and so forth starts building up, and we start gathering information, and we handle what we handle. But it's just been really interesting. Just I've never actually ran misinformation like this.
Yeah, well, to me that would be. That's the key with misinformation, which I use even in let's say legitimate. Not saying what you're doing is not, but legitimate social engineering, like legal. Where we do it for pen testing, because I have numerous, let's say, Facebook accounts that are not me. I'm a 21-year-old college girl. I'm a high school girl, and I'm a bodybuilder. So. Hypothetically,
No,
on
real life.
Facebook. In real life, I'm a 21-year-old. What? I can't be a 21-year-old college girl? No, yes. Well, I'm not saying the names of who they are, so they're going to shut off every 21-year-old college girl. They can have fun with that, see what happens. But that misinformation in that aspect took years to build those accounts so that there was hundreds or thousands of friends and a wall and pictures and that, so that way when they're used in a gig, it's something that is realistic. And it's believable. They don't say, oh, this account was created 2 days ago. It's a 4 or 5 year old account with 2,000 friends and pictures of vacations and all sorts of crap. Those things take time to build. So to use that for misinformation, if I did it 2 days ago, it would be a lot easier for you to say, that's not real.
Well, and also too, this is something that we've stayed away from on the podcast for a long time, and on all the other things we're doing, is just because there's a very complex situation that's been going on that's been very interesting to watch, and you can learn a lot from watching, but we just don't want to get involved, on what's happening. But one thing I find very interesting with what's been happening over the last few months is you find things have gotten to the point now where individuals are able to use the same tactics and techniques that companies have been using for years. And you look at some of this misinformation tactics that you were just talking about and say, compare it to Apple and some of the things that Apple does in order to protect their product releases. It's much the same sort of things. And it is very disconcerting, I think, to a number of people that things have gotten to the point where people are empowered in order to utilize these same sort of techniques that used to take infrastructure. Now you can throw this infrastructure up in a matter of minutes without having people around. You can do it on your own single-handedly, and people don't necessarily know how to respond to that.
Yeah, I mean, marketing uses misinformation all the time, right? Box of cigarettes on the side says you're going to die if you smoke this, big skull and crossbones. Yet you see the cool people.
It's not really that big.
I saw one the other day, man. It was huge. But still, it says it. Even if it's small, it says that you're going to die when you smoke it, and yet you're about to pull out a big pack of cigarettes that are probably almost all
a
smoked.
big pack of cigarettes. Okay.
And it's Reds at that.
Hold on. Surgeon General's warning: quitting smoking now greatly reduces serious risks to your health.
Yeah.
Written in gold on white.
Yeah. Right. You're not going to see that too easily.
Care about it, really.
Misinformation campaigns are not uncommon, but like Jim said, we don't.
Look at politics. You go back to Hunter S. Thompson in his books.
We don't get
I'm not saying, but in Hunter S. Thompson's books, you see a lot of
America's the devil.
See, great. Okay, so this podcast, we went from our awesome PG 24 podcast long of PG rating, and now we've discussed cocaine, adult CTFs, political,
selling heroin now.
Number 25.
And now,
do over Mulligan.
And now we're an enemy of the state, thanks to America, the devil comment. That's great.
You look at how this. It's out there. It's there, and people have been using it for years, and now it's just expanding. And
Sorry.
But our way of
it's just like being on the other podcast.
That's where what we're doing comes in to be important, I think, because people need to be able to recognize what's occurring and know how to respond to it. Because we're getting manipulated by media as well as other entities on a regular basis, and we're not necessarily in a position to defend ourselves, much less our children, which I think brings it back to the kids CTF and a lot of the great things that's been happening here with the Defcon kids, because you grow up and kids are marketed to in such an extent and they don't have defenses for this, and so it's all manipulation, and it's dangerous.
I agree. Good question. Think of a few more. We'll let the guy behind you go. Thank you.
Someone have Tylenol for that man. Does someone have Tylenol for that man?
I don't need Tylenol. I need Jesus.
We can help you with that too, my son.
Whenever you're setting up for the contest and you send the information out to the contestants to say, start gathering their information, whenever they get here, do you have any contingency plan in place for if you receive a phone call from one of the companies and they say, do not call us if you call us we're going to pursue legal action, whatever. Their attempts to dissuade you from doing anything.
Well, that's a very good question, actually. The EFF has helped us develop our flag list and our call list, so we minimize that risk to an extent. Like for a company to launch legal activity against us, in essence, would be very, very costly for them with very little return. The reason being actually all the states define fraud or intent to fraud as when you're trying to get financial information out of somebody. We never ever ask for passwords, intellectual property, financial information, credit card information. We don't even ask for the person's last name. We don't ask for any identifying information from that individual. So if a company was going to do it, it would simply be, we're embarrassed because you call us and now we're going to make your life a living hell because we have more money than you, ha ha ha. That's why we have the EFF, because they can help us.
Hats off to those guys. Really, time and time again.
Seriously.
Now, and the other aspect of that is that's never occurred. I don't necessarily expect it to occur, but if it does, I can't say for sure exactly how we'd respond to it because we haven't really went too deep on that.
I would cry.
But no, I think one of the first things to do
I take pictures of that too.
We would say this company contacted us directly and asked not to be a target. What does that say? What does that say about the entity that they're that worried about what could occur?
And then we would still call them and then record it.
Well, we would talk to the EFF.
Kidding.
we would talk to the EFF.
talk to the EFF.
and get suggestions. But I highly think that making it public that this company is that worried, just like last year when we had the FSISAC or whatever that banking financial entity was.
They really fear-mongered.
We made that extremely public. And we reached out to them. We offered to come to their conference that they had coming up and speak for free. We made sure that they understood. We were not going to target them, but
they didn't believe us. They didn't believe us.
And we talked about this last year. Well,
yeah, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you believe me?
Totally believable.
Look at my face.
Don't look at his face.
Do it, Dave. Look at my face, Dave.
And
do
fear
it.
Me.
Yeah, I know you love me.
One of the things that would be great to do, and Lord knows I don't think it's possible, but I would love to target financial industry within this company.
That was Jim O'Gorman. No, Jim O'Gorman.
We're going to quote that?
Just because I would like to do it doesn't necessarily mean it's ever going to happen, because we're not going to do it if it's going to put us or any of the contestants at risk. That's extremely important. But it would be very, very nice to be able to go after an entity that is that scared.
Well, look at what the CTF is really designed to do, and it's to bring education and awareness around, the social engineering aspects. And I think you're missing an avenue there with not targeting that avenue of business.
Yeah, the problem with financial is that there's a specific law, the GLBA, that states that obtaining any type of client information from a financial institution is considered a federal offense. So even if it was by mistake, so if a contestant was on a phone call, asked a question, and at some point got information that was sensitive in nature, even by mistake, it can be a federal offense.
Well, isn't it defined as, the actual company, the organization can define what they consider sensitive, so
Yep.
they can say an operating system version
Correct.
Yeah.
or a service pack version
Yep.
is sensitive.
So for us to do financial institutions, we really are going to need sign-off.
And it
So
doesn't.
if any of you work for financial institutions and you want to sign up to be a premier target, we give free social engineering pen test at Defcon.
And a shirt.
And a shirt. Oh, and a book. Oh yeah, I have
Maybe even
books.
signed.
We should make something for books, like good questions.
There you go.
Like
Yeah.
he doesn't need a book though, but he can take one. Okay, give the man a book.
Is it which book is this? It's good reading material if you want to take a nap.
Oh dang, that hurts. And
I'm teasing.
And the other guy too.
I'm teasing. I gave you a 5-star review on Amazon. I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
As much
well,
as
I had to pay
tease, you did a
$50
good job.
for
You
that.
did. You did.
Well, don't joke, because you'll get more allegations of fake reviews.
Yeah, I know. No, I don't. As
For some reason, we just went up 10,000 5-star reviews in
Yeah.
one day.
Thank you, Fox. No, the Tao security guy called me out and said that I was paying people for reviews, and I'm like, yikes, man.
Yeah, no.
And then half the people on there have their real names and stuff, so all these.
But then he reviewed our book.
Yeah, then he reviewed your
Yeah,
book and
he
was
reviewed
like,
our book.
It's
Neener,
great. It's
neener.
awesome. And I'm like, well, that stinks. You know?
Well, when that happened, though, I mean, he had like
Yeah, you are
50
a
people
jerk.
on Twitter respond back to him like, "No, that was me. No, this was me. No, this is me." So I mean, I think he kind of got the gist of
but
it.
yeah.
yeah,
But yeah,
whatever.
originally
I mean, to me, he's not that important. I don't.
You're just so
care.
shady.
I am. Well, I guess it makes sense that a guy wrote a book about social engineering would. Social engineer. Shut up.
Oh, speaking of.
No.
Speaking
we're
of.
not- hey, we got questions. Go ahead.
Hold on, hold on.
We got a
hold on.
question.
No, hang
I
on.
want
One second.
everybody.
One second.
to-
Paul Jaw,
One
turn him off.
I want everybody to
Paul
go
Jaw.
to the website and go to
No.
the resources section.
Paul Jaw, I just said.
And in
I
the
can't-
resources section, in the news articles, there's an article that's posted up there about this.
What is it? He's the
He's been declared the most dangerous man in America.
Fired.
I'm actually kind of impressed at your what
you
you
gotta
pulled
plug
out
him
there.
on.
That's better than.
I'm really dual core. We were kidding that. No.
He's the most dangerous man alive, ladies and
God,
gentlemen.
yes.
The most
I'm gonna
dangerous
tell
man
the real
alive.
story. I'm telling the real story. After the book.
Hold on, we got questions. Don't make them stand up there now. Come on.
No, you,
Now,
no,
next
no.
next
I'm telling-
question.
You have a question
They're
for the most
standing in
dangerous
line.
man
Do you have
alive.
Yes.
Do you have time for a story?
No, look at all these people standing in
No.
line. They're going to
You
get
don't
tired
have
of
time
standing.
for a story?
Come
Oh,
on,
I
come on.
hate
Let's
you
hear the
so much.
question.
Don't give him a book.
All right. My question here is you've written a book on this, right, on social engineering.
Yeah.
And you don't understand how the word adult primes the people that are listening.
We all saw it.
First of all,
Everybody saw it.
First of all, it's a sucky question.
I think he deserves a book for that, by the way. I'm just
No, he
saying.
doesn't. Second of all, I reframed my mind to not be so dirty like the rest of you. So my mind, when I hear the word adult, I think of people who are older than children. You think of porn. I don't know. I guess I'm better off in the world. Now, anyway, you have time for a story, don't you, Billy?
No. There's people
No, he
behind
does.
him.
He
It's
does.
rude.
Hey,
It's
you
We do
rude.
not want to
No,
keep
that's
them
the real
standing
Patrick
up.
way.
It's Sunday. No, it's Sunday,
Okay,
man.
so
and we've
here's
all
the
been
story.
Standing a long time.
Book came out. This dude, he, Lou's boy over here, puts me in touch with this great reporter, writer. He writes for magazines all over the U.S. And he says, I want to interview you about the book. So we do this interview. Guy writes a really great article. I mean, he really was a good writer. Now, I did not know anything about article writing before this, but I guess when you write an article as a reporter, your editor or publisher, whoever's above you that you hand your work into, has the last say on the title of the article. So he sends me the article. There's no title on it, and I read it, review it to make sure it's all okay. I say, man, this is great. Thank you. You make me sound much better than I am. You can publish it. Then when your magazine comes out, can you send me a hard copy? So he sends me two. I open it up, and the title of the article is this the most dangerous man in America? Is that the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard? I mean, come on.
I'm calling shenanigans. I want to see the email threads. I'm pretty sure that you're the one that said I'm the most dangerous man alive, and then and then wanted to spin it.
That's exactly, 'cause that's my MO. I always walk around as if I'm the most dangerous man in America. Yeah, that's my MO. I only tell my kids that, and that's it, okay? Yeah. I tell my kids, I'm the most dangerous man in America. You should fear me.
Now take out the trash.
And my daughter just reads my micro expressions and manipulates me, and then I cry.
You guys don't
and I
understand. I
really-
mean, when we start the podcast, the part that we don't record, he introduces himself as, "Hey, I'm the most dangerous man alive." I mean, it's just
I'm the universe. Usually when I come on, it's more like I play like theme music, and then I'm like, Chris Hadnaggy, the most dangerous man in the universe.
We're gonna make that your ringtone now.
Gotta make
That's
that
now
the
your
intro
ringtone.
now. That is the intro.
It's not happening.
It is the
Okay,
intro.
who controls the podcast?
Jim, we can overpower Chris and take the laptop.
No doubt.
Yeah,
No doubt.
You can, but I will shut the lid, and you will not hack it. Anyhow, that's the real story, and then of
Oh yeah,
course
you got to
these-
look at the picture that's on it
and then
too,
no,
because
no,
he's sitting
okay.
there with no socks on.
Here's the story. Here's the story. No. The editor says, "Ooh, can you send me a headshot?" Because I need it for the article. And I said, I don't have any, and I don't really feel like going to get pictures. It's like stupid. So can I just send you a picture and you crop it? He said, sure. Now, I'm like don't have a lot of pictures of myself, but I happen to have one with my dog who's an
For good
English
reason.
Mastiff. I'm sitting on my porch, and I got my dog next to me. And I'm like, just crop out from shoulders up. You're good to go. He puts the whole bloody picture in the magazine. So there I am sitting on my porch with my dog and no socks on, shoes. And it's like, is this the most dangerous man in America? I'm like, what's wrong with you,
Don't
man?
they call you like a frumpy Chris Farley or something
I
like that?
don't know, something like that. It's really kind of humiliating. And to add to the humiliation, So we're doing 2 training classes with offensive security at Black Hat. And of course, Maddie, who I'm training with him in his class, he pulls the article up and puts it on the projector and tells everyone as I walk in the room,
You
this
have
is the
to.
most dangerous man in America. That's bad enough. And then I'm like the ops manager, so anytime something goes wrong, it's like my job to fix it. So when anyone has a problem, they text me. So Jim texts me, 911, quick, come in our classroom, problem. I come running through the door, and on the screen is that article. And Matteo, who is the trainer, goes, the most dangerous man. And I'm like, sheesh, you ridiculous fools. But that one Chinese lady said she trusted me more than you and Matteo, so
Well, she wanted to see Mateo's shoes.
yeah.
That's-
Okay, anyhow.
Where did that
Nothing,
come?
don't ask. Billy.
Okay, you guys said that you don't want to embarrass any of the companies. And
Yes.
I understand that. But in choosing the targets, were there any like personal, I don't like them,
No.
I want to see? Not that you'd publish
No.
it.
Really not. No, really, there wasn't, because what we did this year, which is different than like last year. What we did is we made a list of. Actually, we found a Forbes list of the top 100 Fortune 500 companies, and we just chose from that. This year, what we did is when we chose companies we wanted that we thought would make interesting targets, and then we chose another company in a vertical market. So, like for example, you heard we called AT&T, and so we called Verizon. We called Conagra Foods, so we called Cisco Foods. And we felt that this year what that would do for the reporting is be able to identify which companies in a vertical market were stronger or weaker, and it would also give us a better base of statistics to use for the reporting. Like we can say up front, retail, strong as heck. Retail was I shouldn't say that. Retail was stronger than all the other industries we called. It was much
still
much
failed.
harder for the contestants to get into a person in retail. But yeah, again, at the end they did fail. But it was harder. Like as opposed to, let's say, 2 or 3 phone calls for other industries, retail took 6 or 7. That's not retail. Oh yeah. Well, yeah. We didn't use AOL, of course, but no. That was different. Another question?
Hi, Chris. I was wondering how you see social engineering evolving in the future, because as I'm seeing it now, it's more security people that are getting aware about social engineering, but we need to get through to the people who need awareness the most, like I don't know, call centers, etc. There are lots of awareness trainings going on. I'm coming from Europe, and what you see there is that many companies try to get awareness sessions for their employees, but it's only a very small portion of the companies that pay attention to awareness. So how do you see social engineering evolving in the future?
Well,
And not
I'm sorry, go ahead.
focus especially on security people.
Yeah, the unfortunate truth with social engineering is 6,000 years of human history and nothing's changed. Maybe the end result of how we launch an attack vector is more technological, but the principles within social engineering are unchanged. The way people get scammed, the way people trust other people, the way people trust information, how it's released. In the 20s and 30s when it was newspaper, people trusted what was ever in black and white on print, and now it's on the internet. People trust that information. Things haven't changed. They're just the technology is more advanced. I don't know if we're going to see a shift in social engineering. I mean, this year, with what happened with the attacks on like Sony, HB Gary, Lockheed Martin, PBS, these things that occurred, many of them had aspects of social engineering. When the first attack occurs and you see what happened, and then you see social engineering was used, you would think that the next companies would maybe take notice of that and say, wow, look, they used this vector. I need to train my people against that. And it didn't happen. And then these vectors are used and reused. I don't know if besides continual education and awareness, I'm not sure if there's a way to really fix it.
Well, I see it changing within the next 100 years or so, because
100 years?
we'll be replaced by robots. So
Oh,
Yeah.
it's coming. We'll be good.
Just a matter of time.
Again, I can try social engineering those guys.
I actually would pay everything I make if someone would make a robot to replace Dave. So if anyone out there is from Japan listening, and you have,
I thought Sony did that with that little dog thing.
oh, nice!
I'm gonna pee on your leg.
Yeah, that sounds just like Dave.
To address a little bit of your question, though, I think that part of the issue is a lot of awareness training programs just totally suck. You know, they show slides, they show chintzy little pictures, they have little scenarios that are crap. You know, they're done very, very poorly. And I think that in order for awareness training to be effective, it needs to relate to the employees on a personal level. They have to see how it directly affects them. And the current incentive structures within many organizations are not structured as such that employees really care one way or the other. They care about protecting their jobs. They care about getting home on time. They don't care about the security of the company. And so until we can really incentivize employees to care and show them what to do properly and communicate that out in an effective way, it's never going to change. Right now, it's just a matter of passing the buck and covering your butt as far as executives go.
Yeah. You know, an example of that last year is we called a company that said they called us after the CTF, and they said that we had they have regular monthly security awareness training, and yet they were the company that was called by the second place winner. I mean, the guy cleaned up like almost every flag. So you sort of correlate that. Well, what if they're having security awareness training every month? How was it that easy? And when we were talking to them and consulting with them and trying to work with them on how these attacks occurred, found out that their security awareness training is basically a DVD they pop in. 30 minutes, the employee watches it and checks a box off on the website saying, yes, I completed this training. It's not, it's, like Jim said, it's not effective. There's nothing personal. The guy's probably texting the whole time that he's watching the training or checking his email. It's not anything that affected him as a person. So how is that any kind of training that's worthwhile? But it's cheap. It's cheap. Yep. It's $60-$30 per person, and they can check a box off that says they did, and then they hope to God they don't get hacked. And then when they do is when they say, "Oh, we should have spent the $10,000 or $20,000
or they say,
year on training."
Didn't you pay attention to the training that we sent you to? This is your fault, not us as an organization.
And then they start firing
you
people.
get fired. Yeah, you take the heat.
Yeah.
We shouldn't also only focus on employees, but also to the people at home and etc.
Completely.
And I think
Completely.
that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I don't know how it's going in the States and in the rest of the world, but in Europe, people are becoming very wary about the risks of social networks like Facebook, Netlog, etc.
Yeah.
But when you have big stories like News of the World, where the reporters hacked, between quotes, into the voicemails of people, when it goes over the ethical line, people tend to get very angry and aware of the risks they're facing.
Angry and aware for a moment. See, what I
For a
noticed
moment, yeah.
for a moment, but then that nothing changes because the literal mental attitude of most people is, well, that's pretty bad for this guy, but that's never going to happen to me.
But we as social engineers should take advantage of those situations to
I agree.
push the message further.
I agree. I mean, you take the password dumps from Sony, right? So I think the one dump was like 92,000 passwords.
Oh yeah, but
and
they're
we did an analysis on the passwords that were dumped. We found that the most common length of password was 7 characters, or the most used length was 7 characters. The next was 6. The next was 5. 5-character password that was 12345 was one of the top 10 most used passwords. Now, this is an account where people put their credit card information in and buy stuff from a company, and the password was 12345. You can guarantee that they use that on Twitter, they use it on Facebook, they use it on their email. You know, they see the hack. How many people do you think went and changed that on Twitter and Facebook and other places? They probably didn't. You know, a few people got scared, and when they get hacked, they cancel their credit card, get another one, and probably didn't think about the password changes. How to make that personal is to increase the level and depth of security training on an individual basis.
But not only focus on IT security.
Correct. Oh, I agree 100%. I think actually the more focus should be on non-IT security because
things that are more impactful to the person and stuff is the only way they're going to relate to it. I mean,
I agree 100%. Passwords and shoulder surfing, these kinds of things that are used every day, even by, let's say, not social engineers, just by people who are walking by. I mean, you're in Defcon. You think people would be more aware? I'm walking by, looking over people's shoulders, and they're typing their passwords and their computers. They're connecting to networks here with machines that are from their work. You know, what the heck, dude? You know, I mean, it's really scary.
Good.
The question I posed to all of you all for even having this discussion is why
Because we're not malicious social engineers. Because we're not malicious social engineers. Our job is to help secure companies that we work with. If you want to jump in on a mic or something so we can all hear you.
Yeah, don't jump directly on the mic.
Jump on it. Yeah, but you're the real Pat McCoy.
No, not really. Anyway, if I can kind of speak to that, because I've been in the security industry for quite a while, and I have a bit of a management background, so it kind of melds into this. Security people are nuts, right? Because if we're good at our jobs, we put ourselves out of work, right? If we fix the patch management problem, then we find no more patch issues. Then all of a sudden the purpose for us goes away. I think that, over the years, I kind of struggled with that for a little while because I thought, well, what kind of career security am I building for myself? But what I found out was that the threat out there is getting more sophisticated. So we'll never catch up, especially in social engineering. I mean, the 6,000 years is a great way to put it in perspective. You're fighting 6,000 years of cultural, programming. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I am one.
There are much. Well, actually, a better example is just walk out here on the street between 2 and 4. The working girls, great social engineers, man. I've had some great conversations. Yeah, AM obviously, but seriously, yeah, we're fighting that. So there's no worry. There's plenty of work to do. There's so much job security, but the cool thing is, if you have a repeat client, here's where it really gets fun. When you have a repeat client, you've done a social engineering gig, they've listened to you, they've took your recommendations. So you go on the next year or whatever, same vector doesn't work. You got to up your game because the bad guys out there upping their game. And so all of a sudden, and it's just like pen testing. Right. I mean, back in the day, you found administrator blank password,
See you, man.
Stay safe.
Come back in a little while. We will.
Hey, free hugs.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks. I just wanted to mention that.
Not a problem.
No, it's a good point. That adversarial,
and it's a good
sort of-
question by.
Well, I think, and one thing I wanted to also couple with is that the social engineering aspect doesn't need to be purely awareness based as well. I mean, you can also have technological controls that at least minimize the exposures that you have with it as well. So I think it's a fine new balance between things that controls that you can put in place to actually protect the organization, as well as the coupling with education and awareness around that.
I agree with that 100% because like if you tell a company you can't release information, how are you going to do business if you can't release information? So
it's also not the intent of education and awareness to instill fear,
paranoid. Right,
and everything. I mean, there has to be a level of certainty that you can still operate within parameters.
But
that's also our crux.
If we call as a social engineer and the answers to all of our questions are, I use the most updated secure browser. My OS is fully patched. I don't use Adobe Acrobat 6. I'm off of IE6. If all the answers are up to date, patched software, then our vector. Well, great, we got tons of information, but what's our vector after that? Besides maybe we have to move on to low hanging fruit. So like it sounds horrible, but when we consult clients, our basic message is don't be the low hanging fruit. If you're running from a bear, who do you want next to you? A fat guy. You want me because I'm going to get eaten because you're going to run faster.
The only problem is
I'm going to be out of breath in a second.
That used to work, but now we're in a situation where there's more than one bear. There's a lot of bears out there, and in a lot of situations, there's more bears than there are people running.
Right.
And so this is,
dude, that's a horrible analogy. But there's no hope. Everyone's getting eaten by bears.
When you break this down, though, and you look at the number of compromised companies within the United States. we're all owned. It's a very negative situation. How many pen tests do you go and do on that you don't get in? This is how it is. This is the real world, and I think that you do your best to defend against these sorts of controls, but you also have to, as a business, understand that there's a degree of risk that's going to be inherent in doing business, and you have to realize what is your risk tolerance level that you're willing to operate on, and that's what you build towards, because you're never going to lock everybody out.
Well, but I mean, you're always going to have that exposure of being attacked and compromised. It's really how you respond and try to mitigate or minimize that risk, or the amount of stuff that you have in place in order to.
That's actually a good point too, Dave. You made 2 good points today, which I'm really amazed at. That's like
you're on a roll.
You should be done. You should go back to bed.
Number 25.
Yeah, because that's true. Disaster recovery.
I mean, we're all going to
important.
get breached in some way, shape, or form. And there's no way you can protect a large scale organization 100% of the
Even
time.
a small one.
You're being right 100% of the time isn't
Offset.
going to happen, but it's how you've built everything around that and how you respond to it that's going to make or break it. I mean, if you look at some of these responses from these organizations, the reasons why they're getting so castrated in the media is because of their responses. I mean, it's really, I mean, breaches are looked in a negative light, but it's not the end of an organization in any way, shape, or form. But it can have a significant impact on you. Based on how you purely respond to it or how you can actually minimize the attack. I mean, look at what happened with Lockheed. Right? Was it Lockheed?
Yeah.
Lockheed
Among
got
others.
breached. They did get breached. I mean, they were breached, but they were able to stop the attackers. And the response was, listen, hey, we got compromised, but they made it to nothing. We were able to detect it. We stopped it. We responded. We're comfortable with everything else. We did this, this, and this, and here's what we did. And you don't even hear about that anymore. I mean, they did a very good job when it comes to response.
Yeah.
And they have some of the largest DoD contracts in the world.
I'm with you. The real Pat McCoy.
Ladies and gentlemen, on the subject of lame security awareness training, I had a client a couple of years ago, and they actually used a video of me walking through their environment. The end of day 1, I got onto a golf cart, and this guy actually drove me around this large distribution facility and let me into every single data closet on the pretext that I was there from, I don't remember who I said I was with, but regardless, pretty scary stuff. They had video of this. Day 2, I ended up in one of their senior executives' chairs reading his email, and I had a photo of that. It was the very last photo in the report that I sent off to them. And they use this in their awareness training. A year later, I went back and did another test and had the exact same results.
Yeah.
So even if
that's pretty bad when the guy from the training is walking around in the building and yeah.
Maybe next year, here's what you try: is get a picture on a T-shirt of yourself in the golf cart and see if they still, you're like, hey, remember this? Hey, you're going to do this again this year, right? And they're like, yes, we love it.
But I think it says something interesting about security awareness training programs. Even if there's like a very real-world example that applies directly to the company, people still don't care. Yeah. It's like you said, it's a low-level hack. It's been happening for 6,000
you know how we
years.
respond to that is literally security awareness training needs to be personal. So the problem maybe with the way that is, even though it had your picture and it had the vectors and they defined all of that, is it didn't impact the employees on a personal level.
Right.
Like you want to impact an employee with weak passwords. I'm going to bring my 1.5 terabyte hard drive with rainbow tables on it, and I'm going to show you how quick I can crack a password that's 14 characters.
Rainbow tables are so obsolete. Got that CUDA cracking server. It doesn't matter.
Whatever. I'm not going to carry a CUDA cracking server in my bag.
Why not?
One of the things that this particular client did is they started rewarding people for, quote, turning people in, right? So if you stop somebody in the hallway and
Well, that's actually a really nice thing, because what we find when we talk to companies a lot of times is that their employees are afraid to turn someone in because, well, if I fell for it and then I turn them in, I'm going to get fired.
Right.
Removing that fear and making a reward for actually turning in when you suspect a breach,
right,
to me is a beautiful idea that we wish more companies would implement.
I think a key aspect of that is companies need to encourage critical thought amongst their employees.
Trust
and there's not enough of that happens. Everybody wants repeatable consistency within their employees, and you don't get that if people are critically thinking.
Why did you do that? He just reached over and pulled hair out of my arm. I don't understand. Why would you do it in the middle of a pot? Ow.
One other quick question.
Sorry.
One other quick question. I don't want to burn all you guys' time. I know it's valuable.
This is what we're doing, though. So you're actually, it's not like, dude, I got to go. Why are you talking to me right now, jerk?
So there was a gentleman in the room earlier with a blue shirt, and he mentioned something that I thought was really interesting. He gave a set of creds to someone and then was able to see people from a campus, I think is the example that he used, log in with those creds. He knew that he only gave those creds to one person. He identified that one person. And so I guess in the real world, he could map out social relationships using this sort of reversing approach. Maybe there's already been maybe there's a large body of work on that specific topic. I'm not aware of any. Can you guys turn me on to anything?
You ever seen Maltego?
Maltego is a fantastic tool.
Now Maltego, the new version, which will be coming out, there's a con in the next 2 weeks, and then they'll be releasing it in the middle of, what month is this? August. Thank you. Middle of August, it will be released. There's some new transforms that are coming out that will actually link people to their Facebook accounts and other social media, Twitter, and then you can use those transforms to I can actually show you if you want later on, but you can use those transforms to link their friends list, their other list, and then build a map of where that person connects, how they connect, who they connect to, and by the time you're done, you're seeing like all their social media friends and buddies and pals and what they tweet about and what they talk about.
That's cool. It's like fraud analysis and fraud visualization software for large retail organizations. Yeah. Well, I guess where I was kind of going with that is, let's say I run a Fortune 500 and I want to indirectly map relationships or sort of identify how susceptible certain groups within my organization are to social engineering campaigns. So I send out some email to very specific people saying, hey, go to this website, win a free prize, and deliver on the prize, right? Pass this on to your friends, right? And then I can, if I can identify, the sources of their friends, right, IPs, et cetera, and I have sufficient logging in my environment, I can then map real world, social relations of those people. I thought that's really, really freaking cool, and I was wondering if anybody had done any kind of research into that specific
I
area.
haven't particularly heard any research that's been done as far as taking it to the level of giving the free gift.
Right, like box of Altoids or something.
Sorry?
Cool. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. The real Pat McCoy. He's here all weekend.
What's up, guys?
What's up?
Two really quick questions. One, this is my first Defcon and the first social engineering comp I got to see.
We're sorry.
I know. Blame Billy.
Yeah.
Is there any advice to give to somebody that wants to compete next year and the following years? And the other question is, I know you guys talk to a lot of security companies. I'm just curious on your how you feel about the security here at a casino in Las Vegas after everything you've heard and seen happen in the last 3 days.
Well, on the first one, I can answer a little, maybe more better. A little mo better. I can answer the first one.
Nice, Chris.
Yeah, no problem. Sorry, that's I try.
More better.
Mo better. So what you can do for next year is, as far as the logistics, sign up early, because this year I think we ran out of space in a week and a half. In the sign up, and we didn't take first come first serve. We tried to pick and choose based on people's responses, which is different than the year before. Like, we asked people to tell us why they deserve to be in the SECTF, and when we got responses like, "I like chicks," we just kind of erased that one. But then
Sorry,
when people,
that was mine.
Where's your wife?
Not here.
Let me call her real quick. Let's get her on the podcast.
Watch some social engineering happen.
Yeah. No. But then, as far as in a practice level, just use some of the skills in your daily life. And I don't mean that by trying to manipulate information out of people all the time, but get better at elicitation and conversation skills. What we noticed is that the better the person was at building rapport, the better their score was in capturing data. A couple of the contestants that just really got into conversation and were able to build rapport within seconds were able to nail almost every flag on the list, which was really shocking for us. But that was the pattern we started to see. Those and being nervous is natural, so that's not something that you can necessarily control or ever get rid of. I think we all get nervous, regardless of how many times you do it. But if you're practiced at it, at building rapport, making conversation, then it will come out more naturally. The nerves will go away quicker. And that's probably the one skill that can really make your phone usage real easy. And then the second is information gathering. Every contestant that had a solid report did solid on the phone. Everyone, when their report was awesome, we noticed that their phone call was awesome. So it just seemed to be those two things correlating really, really well.
The other thing I would add to that is read the reports, because we do a breakdown of
what reports?
More better?
The reports from the that we published last year and that we'll be publishing this year.
Yeah, we won't be publishing the reports that came in.
Yeah, no, we can't do that. It'd be great. We'd love to, but we can't do that. But read the summaries that we publish afterwards, and we do a breakdown about what sorts of pretexts work, which ones don't, because while we try to, as much as possible, replicate a real-world social engineering scenario here, there's artificial limitations that just do not happen in the real world. You have the time limits. You have the flags that you're going after. You have a lot of other things that are set up here that make it more difficult. Having to call on a Saturday, is very tough. Who are you going to target? Who can you identify is actually going to be accessible to you as a contestant at that time? That those are all very tough difficulties to overcome, and learn as much as possible from the contestants that come before.
Yeah, whatever he said, just ignore it and listen to me. And,
plus one.
Ignore him. Read your book.
Yeah, there you go. Read my book.
No, read our book. Read our book.
Yeah. Read a Metasploit book about social engineering. Yeah, blah blah blah.
blah blah blah. Hey, SET is documented in the Metasploit book.
You can't use SET in the CTF,
and it's more up to date than what's in your book.
That's actually very true. Yours is way dated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, only reason mine's dated is because you know what? Their book is dated because Dave releases a freaking update every 15 nanoseconds. Okay, so it's like set version 1.0.0.0.1111112.
New feature, updated tab stops.
Yeah. I
Listen, that
changed
tab completion thing was hard to do. Okay, I'm really proud about that.
I renumbered the menu. New feature, release 1.0.0.1113. It's like ridiculous.
One thing I do want to say though.
Like that? That was actually Joey Furr's. When SET started out as just me, obviously developing it, and we added 2 more people recently. So Prime is more on the bug fixing side of the house, and Joey's more on the interface and cleaning up the code after I go through and just write a whole bunch of stuff that he just cries about. So he decided he's like, hey, I think 99 would be a good option to make it universal exit. So I appreciate that. I'll give him the feedback. That's great.
I wrote a bash script that just constantly updates SET, so every 15 minutes I can get the new version, and it runs as a cron job in my backtrack, because otherwise I find by the end of the day I'm 14 versions behind. So if anyone wants that script, just let me know, okay? That way you guys can keep updated, because if you go 2 days, you're screwed. There's a whole new Tinsy level out, everything. So
yeah, and SET 2.0 just came out. So.
Yeah, you see what I mean? And I'm sure by the end of today it'll be 2.1.
Yeah, hang on, me commit.
Yeah, you see.
Thank you, guys. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
he will give you a script. Don't worry about it.
Oh, I'll give you a script. All right, here, give me. I'll have a USB key. I want to give you real quick.
Hey guys, I want to say I really enjoyed the podcast. So
Thank you.
Thanks for putting it out there.
Our one listener.
Somebody cares. The question I have is, we're recording episode 25 right now. What have you enjoyed the most, or an interview that kind of stands out?
Your question. No, just kidding.
That is a great question, by the way.
You mean as far as past podcasts?
Exactly.
One of, for me at least, I don't know. Maybe you guys want to go first?
No, you go for it.
There's 2 that come to my mind when you say that. First is the one we did recently with.
It was very memorable. You can tell.
Man,
look at this.
I'm gonna have to erase it.
No, just let it be.
I am gonna let it be.
Now he's looking it up.
Wow, that's bad.
You can tell us the other one.
Hang on, where's the Price is Right theme song?
No, that wasn't that great. No, just kidding. Okay, anyhow. Dan Arley, I couldn't say his last name and I say it wrong, but he wrote the book about rational thoughts, irrational thoughts, and the difference between those two. That guy was phenomenal. Yeah. The way that he talked about social economics, I really got into his conversation, and I thought that everything he talked about was like about reframing yourself, and his whole ideas and concepts about that just to me were. It's not that they're new, but the way he put them, they seemed very new to me. You know, he has he kind of got this education through a very personal experience from going through having hepatitis, and they were giving him a drug that was a test drug that was supposed to be able to fix this, and the drug made him very, very ill. So, and he had to inject himself with it. So once a day, he knew when he took this drug that he was going to puke, he was going to be sick, his life was going to be miserable.
He listens to the podcast, by the way.
He asked me, so I'm answering him.
Okay. You don't have to just repeat the whole.
So
podcast.
anyhow, then in minute 2, what he said was, let me just play this part for you real quick. Anyhow, what I loved about it is how he was able to reframe his thinking, kind of like social engineer himself, into actually looking forward to the medicine, even though it would make him so violently ill. I found that to be amazing.
So basically, you're saying you like stories about people being violently ill?
Yes, okay. I love it. It makes me happy. Anyhow, if Dan's listening to this, don't listen to these jerks. I actually
what's your favorite
podcast?
Because Chris is just going to mumble on forever.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Jim. What was your favorite? I'll tell my second one in a minute. Go ahead.
You have 2?
Yes, I have 2.
Oh my gosh.
You have 2?
Go
I have
for it.
2.
Let's hear it.
No,
I'm interested in hearing this next one.
I want to hear
Well,
you.
I'll go through mine real quick then.
For it.
Yeah, look, he's looking his up too.
No, my favorite one was I can't remember the.
It was probably the
gentleman's
favorite.
name.
His favorite one was about his book. That was Dave's favorite one. You know, when we talked about my book.
No, my favorite one was version set 1.4, set 1.5, set 1.6, set 1.6.1, set 1.
Yeah, you see what I mean?
No, my favorite one was what was the guy's name? Basically, he'd have to administer a shot every time, and it'd make him sick, and he would throw up, and then he talked himself into basically making himself feel good about it, and that for me was just mind blowing because I really
constantly
enjoyed that.
Pray to God that he quits the podcast. One of my favorite stories of the podcast is when Dave called us from the hospital when his wife was giving birth. Yes, Aaron, if you're listening to this, he called us from the hospital when his wife was in labor because it was a podcast day and he didn't want to miss it.
That's right.
He kept telling her, shush, shush, shush.
I know where my priorities are at. I mean, she's going to be fine. The doctors had it.
And the second,
as long as it's not with the first kid, it's okay.
Yeah, it was the second, and it was twins. It was like,
you're good.
And the second favorite one was when he was getting an EKG for a sickness that he had, and he was calling us, and
Inside
the doctor's
machine.
like,
Put the
hang
phone
up the
away.
phone. Hang up the phone. He's like, guys, I got to go for a few minutes. Hang on. And he put the phone down, not hang up. And then when the doctor would look away, so hey, what's going on in the podcast? Dude, hang up the dang phone. You know, you're getting
called you from the golf course. I've called you. I try to pick a good spot every time.
So Dave really doesn't have a favorite one, so I'll give you my second. Oh, go ahead, Jim. No, actually, I'm not going to do it.
I do have a favorite one, by the way, but go ahead.
What is it?
No, go ahead, Jim. That's fine. No, the favorite one for me was with Johnny Long at ShmooCon because that was the day that Chris admitted that he was wrong, that social engineering did not require deception. And for me,
oh, shut
that
up,
was a pinnacle point in my life.
Back. All the books come back.
Chris was so sure. And it took Johnny to take it. So that for me, that was the best podcast. No, but I mean,
that's why we love Johnny Long so much.
Yeah.
And thank you to Johnny Long
Thank
for
you,
all
Johnny.
your support this weekend.
Love you, buddy.
All the other
Johnny, I hear Africa calling. You better go.
No,
unlike them, where all of their favorite podcasts are silly.
What I wanted to say though is I've enjoyed all of them. I mean, I've learned every single one of them, except for like the ones that Chris talks a lot on, which is a lot of them.
Which is all of them.
Yeah, more better. And so
Mo better.
No, it's just every episode you learn something unique and new. I mean, and I think that's why I really enjoyed it because we have unique guests. And Jim, I mean, you come up with like the craziest ones, like like the radio talk show host. I mean, I would have never thought that would have been a good podcast, but it was awesome. The guy was phenomenal because he had different personalities he had to play. He actually did everything that we did as social engineers as a radio host.
Yeah.
I mean, just different avenues that we see that has been unique to me, and I've learned so much from it. So. I love them all.
That was okay. I like that one. That was a good one.
I think, from my perspective, it's much the same there. I really, it's easy for us to bring on someone from the security field and talk to them about our field. That's easy to do. It's easy to find people to come on. It's easy to put together a topic, and it is interesting, but it's the unique ones, the ones where we do draw someone out from an area that you would never think to go to, because there is so much to learn there, and then it's fresh, then it is something new, and it's a perspective that we don't have within our industry. And I think part of the problem with insecurity is we wind up becoming very insular, and we always speak to the choir. We're very bad at really spreading the message outside of our insular community, and conversely, we're very bad at bringing in fresh perspective. And so anything that we can do to help do that is something I'm proud to be part of.
I loved Eleanor Langen also.
Yeah.
I thought she was awesome.
Eleanor did a good job.
Yeah.
What about that one where the guy would give himself a shot and it would make him feel better?
See what I have to deal with all the time, guys? See this? Here's what. I'll tell you why he does this. Because one time, I was telling a story about my wife being from Thailand, and we were flying on the plane, this, that, and then we asked Dave a question, and he repeated word for word my story. And
the whole time he had no idea.
And then it wasn't until the end. I'm like, wait,
not to the very end.
And when he said, "Yeah, my wife's from Thailand," I'm like, "Your wife?"
I went
is
on
a
for
white
like 10
chick.
minutes
She's not
in the
wife
story.
from
I mean, I
Thailand.
kept
What
going.
Are you talking about? So that's my wife, and he's like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "Do you just retell my whole story?" It's like ridiculous. Anyhow.
What episode was that?
I don't know.
All right,
Number 4.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Keep up the
No
good
problem.
work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Robin Dreek is
Robin.
awesome. That guy is ridiculously good at social
what about the
engineering.
nurse?
Yeah, you can't say anything with the nurse. I mean,
Yeah.
that guy, you can have him on every podcast, and it would be ridiculous.
Hide your wife.
Robin Dreek, he's an FBI agent that does training for social engineering for the federal government, and he's got skills at building rapport and things that are just unheard of. I mean, as a regular routine basis, he will just walk up to strangers in minutes. He'll have every personal
great.
detail on them.
Was he the guy that was talking about at what age should I let my daughter date?
Yeah.
And talking about doing like continuous social engineering, like having multiple engagements with.
Yeah, and he's so well spoken, and it's like ridiculous.
What was the former FBI interrogation guy that we had?
Oh, Joe Navarro.
Joe Navarro. That
Yeah,
was
the
a good
guy
one, too.
Joe Navarro was a good one. He
Yeah.
wrote the book What Every Body Is Saying about nonverbal communications. That was
really good.
He was also a really great one. He's actually the guy who hooked us up with Robin because they worked together.
They had the one guy in Britain that had a TV show.
Paul.
Paul. Yeah.
He wrote the foreword for my book. Paul Wilson.
Yeah.
Yeah. That guy.
What book?
This is not my book. I am Kevin Mitnick.
Paul's good.
Yeah.
So I wanted to start out with a little story on framing first.
To frame your question?
To frame
Does that
my
have to do about a
question,
shot?
Yeah.
That makes you feel better?
Well, actually, I was in Thailand, and everybody was saying, "It's not hot out here. It's not that hot
Oh,
today." Eventually, I started believing it.
Our second listener.
There you go. You're losing 50,000, 20,000.
Man, look at this guy. It's like,
You have this memorized.
Yeah,
What?
really.
Awesome.
That's right.
Keep it going.
Okay, Dave Jr., go away.
Hey, you can take my spot, man. Here you go.
Actually, would you? I'll pay you.
We'll work something out. So my question is, I'm basically the IT guy for a software company, and some of the people that you've called for the past few days are some of our customers.
Oops.
So I'm wondering, at what point? Obviously, everybody's vulnerable to social engineering. At what point would a company, 100, 200 employees, start doing, start doing audits? And would the benefit be? Would it be more to go with an external auditing company? Should I attempt to do audits myself?
I think there's a twofold answer to that. I mean, this is going to sound biased because that's what I do, right? But I think an external company gives you the view of what a real attacker would do because I don't know anything about your internal organization. So if you hired an external company to do that and they did a professional social engineering audit, then you're going to know, well, here's what a malicious person would see from the outside and the vectors they would use with no knowledge of any internal workings of the company.
Well, that's generally what you think you're going to get when you hire a third-party company that specializes in that. You have, a bunch of experts that have been doing it for a long period of time. At least you hope you get that quality, and then you can learn from them and hopefully try to reproduce it on yourself. I mean, for us, we're a lot larger company, so we have our own dedicated internal team of 70-some people. that does the security there. But we still contract out for external parties because it's good to get an outside view and a different perspective because we see it every day. So, I mean, it's all going to be on your risk appetite and how much you want to invest in the security to actually make that difference and actually do it. I mean, look at it as, are you that large of a target? Do you think that you can potentially be in certain avenues where you can be, compromised via that method? And if that's, something that you think you're going to be able, or think that might happen, start looking at potentially doing it and do it yourself. If you can't get buy-off, do it yourself and, see what type of, response you get back from it and, try running up, the management to see if, it makes an impact to them.
Like Dan, like no one knows that you work with us. Thanks for planning that question. Well, sir, that is an unbelievably good question. If you went to a new website we launched, social-engineer.com, there just happens to be training there.
It's like I'm a magic show. You guys got all your plans.
Yeah, I know. Watch this, nothing in my sleeve,
And last question.
But I wanted to answer to back up something that Dave said. I think that in addition to external audits, that the internal team should be doing constant testing.
And communication.
Because you can't hire an external auditor, let's say, it would be the cost prohibitive to do a test every month. So, let's say you do one every year or once every 6 months. The cost prohibitive would be that if you need to do it every month, but you can't hire someone to. So you take what you learned from the every 6 months evaluation and you use that as your internal team now continually tests and uses education from the results to make the people in your organization stronger.
And I also teeter on third party consultants coming in doing work versus what you actually know in your organization. I think it's beneficial on both sides because you have an understanding of how your business operates, the different systems that are there, so you have an insider knowledge of actually how to attack those systems or employees or people that someone coming outside would never see. But you also, obviously someone coming from the outside has the ability to see things that you would never see because you're so blinded by, the everyday occurrences that occur there. So, I mean, it's really, important to do both of them because you're going to get the most value for it.
Cool. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Hugs?
Thank you.
Hug, yeah, man, come here.
I'm scared. Man, Dave, you hold on for way too long. I mean, look, he's trying to get away, Dave. I mean, I saw him pull away twice. It's like awkwardly,
I'm just amazed that he actually remembered that conversation. He could quote it as well as he did. That's
he does that to me all the time, but by force. So I understand.
Listen, it's not a hug if it's not uncomfortable. Because listen, a hug is just a hug. It wouldn't be memorable.
It's not a hug.
But if you try to fight away and get away from it, you remember that.
It's not a hug if it's not uncomfortable, son. I'm gonna punch you while I'm hugging you. Great.
Then maybe the next evolution. You got to make sure
the next evolution of hugs.
Hug punch.
Go ahead before he blah.
2 more questions to harass you again.
Sure.
If you cannot go after the financial companies, do you have any plans on reaching out to them and saying, hey, come to this event, or even paying to bring one of their people out so they can attend and say, this is what we're doing? Do you really think your company is that different?
Paying for them, no, because the bank fees that they charge me, they should be able to afford to send, send out their filthy their wonderful employees to here. But yes, we have reached out, as a matter of fact, to many financial organizations from last year to this year, and there has been some interest. Still, they're very leery. They hear that, they see the reports. I think the fear is that it's public. Okay, so. But when we work with a company as a what we call like a premier target, so someone who's willing to work with us, our deal with them is that we won't make a call or a vector that is not run through our point of contact. Okay, so we don't want it to run through everybody in the organization because then, it's a kind of useless to do a social engineering call. But our point of contact, which is usually within the security team or the CISO, someone like that, will run our vectors through you. So you'll be aware. You'll know what's going on with that. But, at the end of the day, we want to be able to have freedom to do a social engineering call. But we have reached out to multiple financial organizations and asked for their participation. And this year we were approached by a company here that is a financial organization stating that they would be interested in discussing being a target next year. So we don't know if it will. I can't say if it will happen or not. And if it does, we won't even announce it until Defcon. So that way, there's no. Yes.
They're well aware. I mean, they're here.
We can look at the logs. They're downloading our reports. They're listening to the podcast. They're consuming this. They're just not speaking up about it. And they're not the only entity. I mean,
Yeah, but they are. I mean, think about what happened last year. I mean, literally last year, the FSISAC issued warnings. We were getting calls from people within banks and institutions last year stating that
was a self-promotional thing by that group.
But they were saying that we were evil, terrible hackers that were going to attack them. I mean, they were issuing national warnings. Companies went to the Department of Justice about us.
I can understand that with you, Chris, but not Jim.
Me either.
Yeah.
Me either.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, there's two different things there, though. The FSISC thing, that was self-promotion. There was other companies.
We have an argument about this. I don't agree with that.
There were companies, though, that were outside of financial that were going to the DOJ trying to shut us down. That wasn't a financial industry
This year, none of that happened. So I do think that I take that as a speaking out. That they did. They looked at the reports. The report was downloaded 300,000 times last year. So you take that number of people that read it. You imagine that some of them were.
Yeah, the version of SET is the CTF report downloader. That's option number 13.
And then this year there was not even a peep from them. I think that does speak to itself to say that last year there was a ton of fear mongering. This year there was none. Maybe next year the next level is support. Maybe they'll come out and say, hey, these guys really aren't out there to completely molest us and embarrass us. Let's see if we can make a deal and work with them. We hope. Those three institutions, if anyone here knows who they are, speak to them. Give them my card. Tell them we'd love to hear from them. Reach out to them. Be great.
And the second question, you mentioned earlier about puppet accounts. You're skipping over the legality on that. I'll skip over that as well. Whenever you're setting up a puppet account, do you prefer to set it up and let it sit there, or just set it up and populate it with information that says that it's been there?
When I create an account, I create it as if it is a real account. As if it's there, as if it's something that I'm that person. That's my pretext for creating that account. And then I man it, for a few months and let friends come in and connect to them and post things on a wall, take vacations, go visit my friends in other states.
So you don't set up an account for like a person in the 3rd or 4th year of high school and then let it sit, and then you say that they're college, second year, 3rd year?
Yeah, my 16-year-old high school student is now going to college next year. Yeah, you gotta. I know it sounds weird and it's kind of, but if you're going to really do this and have some legitimacy in social engineering, you're going to have some kind of accounts that you can use that don't say Chris Hadnaghi, otherwise, or something that was created a month ago. Or a week ago, or a day ago. I get the contract, and then a day later, there's a brand new email, brand new website popped up. You have to have some things that when they do a who is or something, they look at the account, they look at when it was started, and it was 4, 5, 6 years ago. And then if you man them and don't do anything stupid with it, you hope that you don't get them shut off. So,
gotcha.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think just to go real quick along with that. A lot of times companies don't really care too much about shutting those things down because it helps their numbers. And as long as you do some degree of effort to make it look legitimate, like you have that whole issue with Google Plus shutting down any names where it's not a real looking name on there. Well, just choose a real looking name. It's really easy to do that. Obviously, they need to sell that information to their advertisers. They figure there's a certain amount of burned accounts that are in there, just fake, as well as individuals that just don't use the accounts after they set them up. So it's not really too difficult to not get turned off on those things. So.
I was curious, either personal data or research on using females for social engineering. I know that there's underpopulation in regards to the hacking community in general, but I have a pet theory that girls can get the information way faster. And so I was that if your personal information set, or if there's actual research that shows that females can get information more quickly.
Heck yeah.
And so,
especially from guys, we're stupid. I mean, we really are.
But at the same time, I think she brings up a good point of, I mean, there's different things that trigger in our minds more trust. I mean, you look at everything that Chris was able to do with his Southern charm. I mean, that accent. No, what? What?
It's okay.
Oh, that accent.
Yeah, don't say he doesn't.
I won't say anything about it.
So when this contestant's name called this target and asked for this piece of information, it was amazing how he got it.
We'll cut that part out.
No live stream.
Yeah, we cut that part.
This is why we don't live stream when you asked before. Because we have Dave on the podcast.
Sorry, man. But I mean, certain accents carry a larger pull. I mean, there's a certain trust factor because you think
that
people,
is true.
You think people from the South, are kind, trusting, more family oriented. I mean, it's just the way that they're characterized. But females the exact same way. I mean, you don't expect a female to county or social engineer you. What's that?
Well, yeah, I mean, the research shows that the higher the pitch, then all the evolutionary psych comes in, and guys are like, "Ooh, she can."
So Chris should do very well in a social engineer because of his high pitched voice.
Yes, I do very good. No, but it works, especially the magic words. I need some help. Those are the magic words for a female. If you're speaking to a guy and the magic words, I need some help. It's like we come into knight in shining armor mode. And our automatic response is, "I'm a man. Of course, I can help you." And it's almost like a challenge when a female will ask that question or say something to that effect. So
we have to.
Yeah, but on the flip side of that, what we found in the last 2 years is that when we get females on the phone, that they are also more security conscious. That in both times in retail companies, that when we hit women that were managers or assistant managers, they smacked us down so hard that like my mom was feeling it. That's how hard they smacked. It was like nonstop. I mean,
more better.
It was mo better. Last year, 5 women from one retail organization in a row were just like, "I'm not talking to you." One woman said, "This sounds fishy. I'm not going to talk to you at all." And she hung up and then called us back 8 times. We had to disconnect the number to make her stop calling us back. But we didn't get that from guys.
Did you have any data if you use women speaking to women?
Well, you know what? I have an idea for you. Sign the heck up next year. For some reason, we walk around the halls of Defcon and there's 4 billion women out here and none of them sign up to make a call. All we got is these guys that sign up. We want to see some women in the booth. Sign up. And then give us some data to use. With that voice, you're probably going to see anyone.
Yes, that's correct.
You're going to sign up, Melissa? Oh.
I did want to say this, though. I do find it interesting. A lot of times when we have issues, I'm the one that makes the phone call because, I'm the girl, I don't need help. However, when I have to sign up for, say, T1 line in the house, I get the, "Are you sure you know what you're talking about?"
Oh, yeah.
Are you sure you...
Oh, because guys think women are so dumb when it comes to stuff. Wow, and you're married to this dude? Wait, they're not? No, I'm just kidding. Obviously not.
Listen, man, if you want my wallet, you got it here.
That's a really good question, and I really would love to have the data to do it, but the problem is in the last 2 years we've had only 1 female contestant. So I would love it.
Are there any females out there that are already established?
Yes, Sharon Conheedy. She is awesome. She's from Ireland, and if you can look her up on her site, and she's actually here at Defcon. I think she left this morning, though. We were talking. She had to leave sometime early today, but she is really phenomenal, and she's got some unbelievably great ideas when it comes to SE, and she has the high pitch accent Irish accent. You kidding? I mean, she comes into America, we just start handing wallets out to her. I just give her my money as soon as she walks in the room. It's like, I know you're going to get it from me, so here it is, you know.
That's how I lost my car.
Yeah. We just give Sharon all this stuff all the time. So there's probably more. There's probably more that we don't know the names off the top of our head, but she's the one that I think of automatically. You know, there was a group, a research group called Pendle out of the UK. And they established a sales training organization in America, and this was maybe about 9 or 10 years ago. They published a research paper that stated that Americans love Southern accents and British accents. So it's a funny thing what this gentleman over here was saying with the Southern accent, that the American reaction, at least in their research, was that when a Southerner speaks, they tend to get more warm and fuzzy. And when a Brit speaks, they tend to think everything they say has to be right because they're so superiorly intelligent. Now, I don't know how, I mean, Mr. Bean's got a British accent, and I don't listen to him and go, that dude's smart, you know. But this is what the normal American thinks, the British accent. So I would love to go to like some kind of dialect school and learn how to do like a perfect British accent. Yeah, and then I'd be really smart.
Nah.
Shut up, Dave.
You'd be the Mr. Bean.
Dang it. Go ahead, Billy.
So, guys, I was drawn to the podcast because I'm a bartender, and I've been a bartender my entire adult life. And the stuff you guys talk about kind of defined what I've been doing behind a bar forever. You know, the elicitation, the framing. I can talk to a guy with 20 grand in his pocket. I can talk to a guy with no money in his pocket. And I've learned that behind the bar. What do you think is easier to learn first? The tech side of what, you guys do, or the psychology, personality side? Which do you think is a better way to go first? Because I've had to go.
That's not an easy question, by the way.
No, I think it depends on your personality and your present skill set.
Yep.
I mean, someone who is really socially shy and awkward, well, they'll have to work much, much harder to learn the social side. Whereas, I'm the opposite. I have no problem with social situations. But
he has a lot of problems with the technical part.
Yeah, I do. These guys up here are 10 times smarter than me. Maybe Jim is like 100 times smarter than me.
Wait, what?
Dude, come on.
I wrote set.
Set, yeah, right. Hey, write this, Jofer. That's what he. I wrote set. It's like I made socialengineer.org right now. Diggy did it. I'm not a web developer, but I think I'm just teasing. I think that it really depends on your skill set. For me to become a great exploit writer, it would take me a lot longer than it would be to, let's say, to become a negotiator. I'd probably have more of a skill set to be a negotiator or a salesperson than I would a exploit writer, because I don't know code. I don't understand it that much. I understand the basics of it. Where these guys, that's what they do. I mean, Jim and Dave, they write exploits. They can do it. They see something, they can make that happen. So, but Jim's also got the social skills. So he's kind of got a little bit of both. Dave, yeah, he's a little socially awkward. I mean, with the man hugs and the molestation of other guys and the weird fetishes and stuff. But if you wash all that away, Dave's really a nice guy.
True. I'm not going to disagree with that.
Yeah. Dave's really a nice guy underneath all of that nasty exterior filth. But besides that, he's really a great guy. So no, Dave's actually also a good social engineer. Yeah, he's the real pastor.
Well, then, because you guys seem or explain yourselves as so different, you were more the person, and then you learn the tech. You guys are more the tech, and then learn the personal side of it. Which was easier? Was it easier to learn the tech, like from your opinion?
I would say it's different. I mean, for me, I wouldn't claim to be an awesome, manipulator or negotiator or anything like that. Like Chris. I mean, Chris would definitely. I was going to say spank me, but Chris would definitely...
PG! The kids are gone, but their parents are here.
Chris would definitely, do a lot better on different personable situations because that's what he's focused on. Whereas I would try to take more of a technical avenue of coaxing somebody to go to a website or something that I've written or done something with a 0 day or something that couples that. So it's just different skill sets that we've learned in making everything available to you that you have. And I'm going to keep talking because Jim wants to really butt in right now and say something important, but I really don't want to let him in. So I'm just going to keep going on about this one shot this one time, this guy, and okay, Jim.
No, I think too it's important to remember that even within the technical and the social, there's then aspects of it. One person might be a great exploit writer, but not have any skills when it comes to actual penetration testing and how to use those exploits to get into our organization. And conversely, on the social side, someone might be really good at understanding the motivations of people and how to alter that, but still not be able to then develop and sell a pretext in person being live. You have to go with where your talents lie and then maximize that as much as possible. You can always learn other skills, but you're naturally going to be better at those talents that you're just inherently born with.
Right.
And now we're waiting on Chris. So what's this, Gavin?
All right, hang on. Let me get it on. Hang on.
Any other questions?
Hang on. Let me get.
Hey! I'm trying to work out 10 things at once. Okay, come on, give me a break. Dun, 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 dun. No, I had something else to say to this guy here, Billy. Along with what they're saying, that really is an impossible question to answer without knowing. I mean, if you were talking about me personally, it would be social is easier to learn. I don't know about these guys because, even though I know them, I don't know how comfortable they are in that kind of a learning circumstance. My honest belief, though, is that anybody can learn either of the skills. It will just be...
And you can still learn both of them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Your...
That's exactly what I just said, except you reworded it again.
No, you didn't. You said anybody can learn either one of them, which indicates...
But you said both of them. How is that different? Either one or both? How
no. Either one kind of represents that, hey, I might be able to learn one or I might be able to learn the other.
But you can learn all of them, really.
I don't... I think of someone like Maddie, right? Maddie looks at.
Is Maddie out there? Because you kind of pointed over there.
Maddie is.
I looked over there. I didn't see Maddie.
I think about something like Maddie. He's in my vision right now. Okay, and the guy will not know something. Like he'll look at. He needs an exploit, and he finds something online, and it's written in assembly, and he goes, I don't know how to read assembly, so he goes and reads a tutorial like he's in the Matrix, like he downloads it, and he's like, I understand assembly. That would take me 6 years. And he's like, it's so easy, twat. Why don't you know how to read assembly? And I'm like, I don't know. I can't read it. So that's his skill set.
It actually is a true story, by the way.
It is a true story. Yeah, it really is a true story. We have some students here from the class. They can testify, right? So how he treats them. But on the same side, he gets really nervous in social situations. And if you really want to see him squirm, if he comes, ask him to sign a book or sign your T-shirt or sign your boob or something. That'd be great. It really gets. Yeah, he really gets. No, I was talking to Billy, not to a girl. So he really gets really uncomfortable. I've seen him actually crawl on the floor behind me to hide when that happens. It's funny. He's going to hear this. I'm dead. I'm really dead. I need to edit that out.
And if he doesn't hear it, we're definitely going to tell him. So either way...
There'll be no proof. Misdirection.
Oh, he'll believe.
Hey, yes!
Mr. X is the most dangerous man in America.
Did you get the beginning where he did the intro? The intro that you did that you were going to take out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got that too. Dude, you're my buddy. My buddy. We were married once.
X, this was... we were actually, that's a true story too. As scary as it is. Oh, more questions. Come on.
Anything else?
Really?
That was good. No, I think we had a good breadth of questions. I think
it was awesome.
Overall... Sorry, go ahead. Overall, so...
Yeah, go ahead, clap for us. That was really great. Really humble, Dave. No, stop. No, please, stop. No, really. We can't take any more.
Sorry, can you start it again? Just real quick. There you go. Yeah.
Oh, no, please.
That's what I'm talking about. You're the only one. It's okay. It's all right.
Hey, dude, you got a skirt on. Close your legs. Just kidding.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
Wait.
Just kidding.
For a guy who could be a social engineer, I really say some dumb things sometimes. Yes. I just admitted it. I don't need you to agree.
Yes. I'm just supporting you.
Yeah, right. That's the first time he supports me.
All right, back on track.
Wow, the first time you bring us back.
Backtrack?
I know.
You got some backtrack?
Yeah, I got some. No, overall, guys, I think you guys did a very good job on the Social Engineer CTF. I
We
mean,
know.
sitting from the outside watching you guys do it. With Raja getting married and everything, he
Yeah,
was
that was a
spot.
hard time
He was
to-
spot. Well, he was
I know.
spot on. When he got
He wasn't
married,
unfocused
he was a
when he got
different
married.
person.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
No, but I mean, overall, I think again another very successful year for the Social Engineer CTF, not the adult one, just the SC CTF, and for the kids CTF.
I have
So
to deal with this all the time. You know what I mean? Are the kids still here? We lost them, didn't we?
No, they fled.
I did.
But I was gonna say congrats.
think
I mean,
read.
another
is
good year.
Wolfgang here? He
Who?
left too, huh? We had something planned. We had the Qualis guy was going to come on and kind of talk a little bit about. We mentioned it really briefly because I thought he was going to come in, but now that we're wrapping up, this event could not really have happened without our sponsors. It really, really could not have, because I did not believe it when we got asked to do this a year ago, how much money stuff costs. When you buy them in bulk and things like that. So having the sponsors help us out with the financial burdens of it makes it so we can give away cool prizes, and we can have cool looking things like this, and the banners that we had, and the booth that we had, and all the other little things like with the kids having RC helicopters with hidden cameras in them for the kids, which, by the way, all the parents said that we're gonna take it if they win. So yeah, it was all those things that happened because we had the sponsors helping us out. So
The fact that they step up and support the community
Yeah.
the way that they do, that's really something to be respected.
It
It's
is.
one thing to just sell a product and just take money from the community, but to sell a product, but then also become part of the community, be involved, really contribute something back to us. That's awesome.
And to give it in such a way that with a contest that is risky. Right? I mean,
Yeah.
this contest is risky. Like someone already brought out, someone gets ticked and they want to sue us, it can happen. These companies standing up like that and saying, we're going to support this event, and we're going to support what you're doing with the kids and with the other the normal CTF, the original OG CTF, the one that's for people who are older than 18 CTF.
More better.
The Mo Better CTF. Then I think that's really cool. To me, that's really awesome, and I'd like to give a personal shout out to Qualis, Core, OffSec, and All Clear ID.
And EFF.
The EFF, which...
EFF. They fight for the users.
So if you need any of those products, those are companies to talk to. There you go. There's a shameless plug. Buy me some EFF. What else? Anything else? You guys want to say hi?
Yeah, Roger, say hi.
Give a shout out to your wife.
Hi.
Wow, yeah, really sounds like you love her. Yeah, wow, yeah, great.
What about me?
Getting a
Take
divorce.
Gomez.
Oh, here, Gomez.
I'm not Gomez.
Useless.
Really, it's the help that we got from everybody. These two guys, as well as quite a number of other people. The logistics of doing this is a mess. And it just is. There's no way around that. There's so many moving parts, so much equipment, so much to go wrong. The sound system, the booth, the everything. And
Yeah, I mean, little things like Mr. X bringing his Mustang from Colorado and letting us shove like 4,000 boxes
You got a
in the
Mustang?
back. Dude, he has a car that's ridiculous.
Is it the Shelby?
It's
GT?
Like, first of all, it sounds like someone like the size of Ronan.
He said the GT. It's a GT.
Yeah.
I get it. I know what it is.
Yeah, but like Ronan
You don't
should be
need
driving
to-
this car.
you don't
Ronan
need-
should,
you don't need
not
to know
Mr.
these-
X.
I think everybody's seen a Mustang.
No. How many people haven't seen a Mustang? Yeah. One, two.
Not seen a Mustang?
That's right. So shut your face. How many people have not heard the engine on a Mustang? 2, 3. See,
No, that's 2 or 3. Can you raise your hands again? Or accurate count?
Thank you. 1, 2, and this guy over here 3. That's
All
right. So you know what?
I'm called shenanigans.
Shut the heck up. Anyhow, when Mr. X is behind this
Social
thing,
engineering still does not require deception, by the way.
Oh, it does.
No.
Yeah, we've proven it again.
No.
Anyways, Mr. X has a car.
And he let us load tons of stuff in it, and then he's sitting here like recording us, and he's been like our personal photographer for the weekend. That
Mr.
kind of,
X.
Yeah, and Pure Hate had to ride with him just for that, so we give shout out to Pure Hate for that. Although 900 miles at like 150 miles an hour is only like like 2 hours or something. So, it's not. It wasn't really a long trip.
Mr. X really lived the rock star life.
Oh yeah, we should show the video of the guitar smashing. Mr. X found
the best
guitar.
thing ever.
You got to see this picture. It's the best thing on the planet.
Oh
so
my
Mr. X is standing in front of a hotel with this broken, taped up guitar and a bowl of candy, and he's like playing. People are walking by like, "What's up with the weird Belgian dude?" And then he wanted to smash the guitar, so he's smashing a guitar like a rock star. And those people are walking by, and this one guy just runs up to him like, "Yeah, man!" Starts kicking the guitar and smashing it.
And he flicks off the camera and walks away. It's just a random guy.
And I'm like, "Yep, this is Vegas. That's for sure."
That's awesome. That's got to go on YouTube. Seriously,
you really would not expect it from a dude.
I've ever seen.
That would make it on Tosh.0.
Because you know what's funny? I mean,
that would make it on Tosh.0.
Mr. X, stand up and show everyone your shirt. 333, only half evil. That's what he says. The guy is pure evil. I got to tell you that much. Is that Wolfgang? No. Man, we lost our sponsor, dude. I guess
that's all right.
Yeah, whatever.
So
overall,
they're
good.
They're great, wonderful people.
I know. I mean,
we
whatever
hope
that we
to see
lost
them back next year.
No, I didn't mean whatever that way.
Dude, for a social engineer, man, you keep putting your foot in your mouth.
Listen, it's
starting
Vegas.
to question things here.
I haven't slept in like a week and a half. I have socks on.
Hey, we got a violin.
Oh man, I tell you, I don't know why I even do this with you guys. Okay, so we talked about sponsors. We talked about. Okay, for those of you who didn't raise your hand listening to our podcast, social-engineer.org. There's a podcast on there. There's a newsletter. I don't know. How many people here read the newsletter? More hands on the podcast. That's scary.
Lighter.
What was that?
Said it keeps getting lighter.
Lighter?
Contribute.
Yeah, you know what the problem came in is, and this really is a serious call for contributors. When we first started, Jim and I, we had all these great topics, we had all these live experiences that we could write about, and then as the months went on, it was something that was more and more difficult to manage. And people come up and say, "I'd love to help, I'd love to contribute." That's how you can contribute. Write something good, write a personal experience, how you use social engineering or an aspect of it in your daily life, and we would be glad to publish it. Some of the best articles we had or ideas for articles we had came from people who read it and use it. But there's 5,000+ people that download that newsletter and another 10,000 that hit it once it's put on the web.
That's option number 14 in set, so.
Anyhow. Oh, man, I tell you. We just lost 50,000 listeners. There you go. You can use that.
No, that's also another feature in set,
yeah.
So, yeah.
So that's cool. The podcast is on there, too. Yes.
For the website, whenever you're trying to show it to people inside of a corporation, inside of, a place of employment, something respectable, it doesn't exactly work whenever they're still on IE6. So how are we supposed to show them a working website?
Where do you work?
I have a PDF special on the website I'll give you a link to directly, and then I will personally show them the website.
No, that does bring up a good question. I mean, the technology backend they're using should support that.
Yeah,
I didn't want to say the specific stuff, but
no, we had to. There was a reason that we had to shut off IE6 support on the .org. Because of our mix between the wiki software that we use and the web software that we use. When we made it compatible for IE6, it kind of screwed up everything else. But we just launched social-engineer.com. So you have the org and the com. Although the framework and everything is not on the com, there are links to the podcast and newsletters and things like that. And it might be a little better of a site to show for a corporate environment because it looks less hackerish and it looks more professional. But it depends on what you're trying to show. Is it that you're trying to show the framework?
Trying to show the framework, trying to show the podcast, going specifically to the /podcast and then trying to bring up that page.
Yeah. You have my card, right? Did I give you a card? No. Okay, if not, if you do, email me and let me know this, and I'll work with my web guy, and let's see if there's something we can do to fix that, because you're not the only person that has mentioned that, and it is something that I'd like to see fixed. Thanks for bringing it up. That's a good point. Heck, when we launched this 2 years ago, I really didn't think that this would ever be one of those things that that would be used in corporate environments. And then I hear from all these like Fortune 500, Fortune 1000 companies. They use our newsletter and security awareness training. They use the podcast at the office because, besides this one, we keep it clean and professional, and then they can use it as pass-arounds. And that kind of, it makes us feel good, but it kind of shocks us. It's like we're just, 3 or 4 guys that get together and talk about stuff that we enjoy, and then we hear that all these people are using it in their security awareness. It's kind of cool. So we want to help make that easier for you guys that are doing that. So if we can do anything to make it work on IE6, let me know. The other thing that we're reaching out for is people that can help with translation. There's a lot of people who want the framework to be in different languages. I got a guy working on a French translation right now. How's that going, by the way? It's coming. So we got a French guy, and then I know there's so many people that want it in Spanish. Obviously I can barely speak English, so I can't translate it myself into Spanish. Probably not at first, but with the training that we're trying to launch in the next couple months, which, by the way, shameless plug, we're trying to launch our first social engineer training course in October. But with our training course, we have a lot of interest, believe it or not, from Brazil and Europe. So in analyzing the requests that are coming in for training from those areas, we've been looking at, now, of course, this is all great that we have this course, but now we need to adjust some of the specifics, especially nonverbal communications, to other cultures. Body language, hand gestures are all different and can mean completely different things when you talk about the difference between Brazil and here. How different they are in their nonverbal communications. So there will be, and then I hope to use that to tie back into the framework, and we need to update that. We've been talking about this nonstop for probably a year, just updating the framework. There's some pieces of it that really do need some serious updating, which if anybody here wants to contribute and help, we are always willing to take contributors to help with that part of it. Good questions, though. Thanks, guys, for coming out. I'm sorry that
version 2.0 got released, so go download that.
No. I'm glad you did. Thank you. I'm sorry about dual core. The guy played, I guess, 6 hours last night.
He was supposed to play the song. I'll rap it.
He was supposed to have a 30-minute set last night, and he had a 6-hour set. So he kind of walked in. That's why we were a little late starting this morning. We were waiting for him to come, and he got here right at 11. And when I went up to him and said, "Hey, how you doing, Dave?" He went, "I'm okay." That's exactly how he sounded. I'm like, "So I take it you're not singing today?" No, I'll come in and rap. I'm like, "Yeah, okay." And then I'll see a vocal cord blow out the side of his throat. So we decided to let him take a rest and told him to come over if he felt better. He's not here, so we apologize for that. But everything else went great. So thanks for coming out. Social-engineer.org, channel on Freenode, irc.freenode.net is social-engineer. On Twitter, we're Human Hacker, and social-engineer.com. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
It's the SE derivative, that's me, I'm prime. The last thing I want is suspicion of a crime. My positive demeanor and my smile make it fine. With eye contact for the right amount of time. Too much and not enough doesn't seem for real. Got a nice firm handshake sealing the deal. Know a little about a lot and a lot about a little. So most conversations put me somewhere in the middle. My pop culture knowledge leaves me feeling kinda scary. It lets me chat with working class and gossip secretaries. Recon the boardroom, looking for the top thing. Loosen up execs when I ask about the golf swing. Start spewing secrets, just like a torrent. Can't really blame them, we all wanna feel important. It might seem different from what you were envisioning. The key to communicate, it's all about the listening.
I'm gonna use every trick in the book. I'll try my best to get you hooked. I'm gonna use every trick in the book. I'll try my best to get you. I'm gonna use every trick in the book. I'll try my best to get you hooked. I'm gonna use every trick in the book. I'll try my best to get you.
Offering support to employees is the best. When I'm calling random users and claiming I'm a tech, he's just here to help. So they're easily believing him. Jamming, playing, and scamming, spanning every single medium. Recording while I'm spidering your phone menu system. The mirror it and use it for my own acquisition. Get them on the line, I just do a little switching. Sending out my number in the message when I'm fishing. 6 billion people, it's really quite a market. Customers, employees, everyone's a target. Backing up my claims using all the common slang. Lingo for the layout, drop the manager's name. Collecting all the sweet stuff like honey to a bumblebee. Like every unlisted number dialed to your company. You saw me, you probably think I'm clumsy, but I'm not. Cause I'm dropping all these USB drives around the parking lot. Whoops.
I'm gonna use every trick in the book. I'll try my best to get you hooked. I'm gonna use every trick in the book. I'll try my best to get you. I'm